What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Watch It in Action. I'm BouseFeenux, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Brakk. The Brakk is a hand cannon, which is basically a hand shotgun of Grineer design, and you can find the parts from it from the Goosedrag 3. Now, to find this weapon, your best bet is going to be doing the Law of Retribution raid, which I'm planning on making a tutorial for. A lot of people have asked me about it, and I will get to that eventually, so bear with me. But if you do the Nightmare version, you're almost guaranteed to run into them, and they drop the parts for this weapon. Conversely, you can also do the normal version, and you still have a pretty good chance of fighting them, and you can do that as many times as you want in a day until you get all the parts. So keep that in mind. The other way, if you can't get into the raid, is to do the invasion missions that feature the Grineer and the Corpus fighting against each other, and always side with the Corpus, so that way you get the Goosedrag 3 sent after you. If you kill them enough times, you will get the Brakk parts, and you'll be set to go on this thing. Now, as for the weapon itself, it's a monster. I mean, this thing has, it's crit-based and impact-based, so the impact damage not so good, but fortunately it has a lot of slash damage behind that. And honestly, it does pretty good physical damage across the board. It's just the impact is the higher of the three stats, so you're not going to be disappointed when you use this one. It's definitely worth the work you put into it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the build that I've got set up for it. Okay, so right here we notice, like, right away that we've got 4 Forma on this build, which is, for a secondary, pretty good, because some of these mods get pretty expensive, especially since we're using two primed mods, and then we've got 3 90% elementals, so those are very expensive mods, and luckily we can fit all this with 4 Forma, because the Brakk actually comes with a couple different polarities on it already, which is really nice. So, taking a look at the build we've got here, we're going to be using Hornet Strike, which is pretty much a no-brainer. 220% damage, we cannot leave that out. We're going to need that on every pistol build we have, or every secondary build we've got. Barrel diffusion, pretty much the same rule, but that's going to give us our multi-shot, and the Brakk is basically a hand shotgun, so it has innate pellets, or innate multi-shot, pellet count, whatever. So you're going to want this to increase that pellet count even further. Same thing with Lethal Torrent, that's going to add more multi-shot, and then on top of that, we're going to get a bonus to fire rate, which is pretty nice as well. This thing has a super fast reload time, so the fast fire rate doesn't matter as much. I mean, the reload time is a second, which is fantastic, especially for something that does so much damage. Moving on here, we've got Prime Pistol Gambit and Prime Target Cracker. That's going to make up the crit portion of this build. If you don't have either of these, don't worry about it. Use the regular Target Cracker and the regular Pistol Gambit. But I will tell you this, these primed mods make a massive difference. They make this weapon amazing. You go from not one-shotting some level 90 mobs to one-shotting some level 90 mobs, and I'll demonstrate here in a minute. But moving on here, we've got our Elemental build here. We're going to be using Pathogen Rounds, Convulsion, and Heated Charge that gives us corrosive and heat damage. Now, you don't have to use these elements. You can use whatever elements you want, really. Just depends on what you're going up against. I just use corrosive in my videos because that's just my go-to element. I know how to make it easily, and I know where all my mods are for it. So this is typically the one that I use. Now, a note about the new mods that came out. The new Pressurized Magazine, the Crit mod, the Sharpened Bullets, and stuff like that. You can use these if you want. I haven't done extensive testing on this weapon yet with Sharpened Bullets, but I have used it a little bit. And honestly, I couldn't really tell that much of a difference. It wasn't a huge difference for me. So you can use it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If some of you guys out there have done the math on these or not, let me know. And you know, you can change this out. So if you have Sharpened Bullets, that'll work. Hydraulic, what is it? Hydraulic Crosshairs or whatever is the other one. Yeah, that's the on headshot you get crit chance, and then Sharpened Bullets is going to give you crit damage. So check out both of those. Let me know what you guys think. I haven't used them too extensively yet. I'm planning on doing videos here in the future of them. But as for the stats of this weapon, we're going to take a look at the critical chance. That's going to be our main source of damage. Now, 40% crit chance on a shotgun is not that good. I'll be totally honest with you. That crit chance is spread out between all the pellets we have. And with secondaries, we're going to have a ton of multi-shot. So that critical chance is highly inflated. But you will find that this is extremely reliable. Very few times do I shoot this weapon and not get a crit with it. On top of that, we got the 3.8 multiplier. Now, notice this is going to be a lot less if you're not using a primed pistol gambit. So make note of that. Definitely make note of that. Fire rate's pretty fast. Magazine size is 5, which is kind of small, but it reloads really quickly, like I said, so that doesn't matter. And then we have 25% status chance, which is basically nothing for a shotgun, especially with so much pellets. And then, of course, we got our impact, our puncture, and our slash. As you notice here, like I said earlier, it's primarily impact damage. But we've got the 336 puncture and the 403 slash. Those are pretty close. That's pretty solid damage all around the board. So this is pretty much the build, guys. Like I said, check out those other event mods, see how you like those on it, and let's test this thing out in a controlled environment and see how we do here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spawn us some different little smattering of enemies here. Some enemies that you might see commonly in the Void. Just some corrupted butchers and some corrupted crewmen, and I'm going to show you how this weapon reacts to them. So we're getting our guys down there. We're going to jump down. I'm probably going to go ahead and just chaos these dudes so I don't get instantly killed, and we can get a couple seconds drop on them. And you notice I'm one-shotting a lot of these corrupted butcher guys. This guy, and these are without headshots, so some of those headshots are hitting for over 3K, which is just insane for a secondary hand shotgun weapon like this. Now, those shielded dudes are going to go down, pretty fast as well, too, because we're using impact damage, but the only problem is I'm using corrosive, which they're not super weak against, so the impact damage is going to be doing a lot of the work there. Some of the shielded units in the Void might be a little harder to take down, but these guys are going to go down pretty quick because of that damage is just so spread out amongst the physical damage types. But I can't highly recommend this weapon enough. I mean, if you're looking for a good secondary to max out, you've got 4 Forma hanging around, definitely get this thing. If you have access to the raid, this should be one of the first things that you're trying to get from the raid is a Brakk. This thing is an extremely solid secondary. Just note that like all shotguns, it pretty much falls off at range, so you want to make sure you get in close. Also, it's got that high pellet count. You want to make sure you're close anyway to take full advantage of all that, crit damage and everything like that. But this has been another episode of Watch It in Action, guys. As always, you can find this build on BouseFeenux.com. Just remember, if you go there, please turn off your ad block because ad block really hurts my content. And if you really love what I'm doing, check out GameWisp. It's a great way to support my content and keep this project going because this is my full-time job. I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.